Hi guys, and welcome back to another segment of True Crime series with me, Stephen Gillen. I hope you guys were okay out there in these strange times. Now, there's a lot of content out there about me, but a lot of you wonderful guys out there, you ask a lot of questions and about other content, about more detail, about other stories, about answers and solutions to stuff that's happening in your lives too. And my thing has always been to improve now where I am now, in the experience of my life behind me, to help and improve as much lives as I can out there by the lessons that I have certainly learned. Today we're going to talk about my sentence of 14 years and what it was like to serve 12 years as a Category A high security prisoner within some of the worst prisons in the UK. The first thing I want you to say, to tell you is, look, very strange thing, but true, that when I stood in that Old Bailey on trial for armed robbery, shooting at police, other firearms charges, this was my third trial at the Old Bailey. I'd already beaten one for armed robbery in the City of London. I'd beat another one after that. Some years after that, when I got out, I had another one. I beat this conspiracy to rob, but I got a guilty for the firearm. And then when I was on home leave, I didn't go back. I'd escaped, guys. So when I got arrested again, it was an ambush. It was a red eye, armed police, flying squad and all that was there. It was very bad stuff, very violent. They said I fired a few shots at the police, which was proved to be by accident. And I was arrested. So, you have to appreciate the conditions of how I was arrested. It was a big operation, over a long time with photographs, with observation, with surveillance, a lot of technology. At the end of that, I was arrested like this, right? So when I stood in the Old Bailey, we fought the trial and I got not guilty. They gave us 69 years, which was all concurrent. So the consecutive sentence was, it was 14, but then there was the other bit, which you could say was the 3 for the firearm before, that actually made 17 years. As I stood there in that courtroom, it was very strange for me that I always thought that I was going to get a big sentence. I didn't know how or why. It was like serendipity. I knew that I was going to get this sentence, guys. So we went downstairs, I was with my co-Ds, I shook their hand. I said, well, that's it then. And that was the start of it. But I have to say, let me first say that what a definition of a Category A prisoner actually is someone who is highly dangerous to the public, the police, or the security of the state, and whose escape must be made impossible. With Category A prisoners, they're a very elite kind of group where that is always led by security. There's a blue book. There's a red A on your door, with the HR, high risk outside the door, so they see that. Anywhere you go in the prison, there's a blue book with a red A on it, with a photo of you, and you're signed over like a parcel, so they know wherever you are in the prison, your visits are different. Everything's monitored different. There's a lot more security implications, guys. So it's not like normal prison. There's only certain prisons you can actually go to that take Cat A's. There needs to be dog units there and all this stuff. These are the implications and what it's like, first and foremost, to actually be a Category A prisoner. Now, I was released as a Category A 11 years and 9 months later. And I wasn't to know this, because the idea of a Category A is that they decategorise you after a while. You come down from AA and A, B, C, even to D category, which is open prison, and then you get released into the community. So it's important to say I didn't have any of this, guys. I was kept at the high security, which is very rare, I must say, by any accounts, all the way through and released. Starting a sentence like that, guys, I must say is, and I was a very disruptive prisoner. I was seen as one of Britain's most dangerous prisoners. I actually served 5 years of that in segregation units, 23-hour bang up, being shipped around around the prison estate, which was called the ghost train in them days. So you do about 28 days, 6 weeks. They'd come, they'd move you, they'd move you as far away from your home and your visitors as possible to make it really hard. I was from the south. I spent at one time, I remember, 5 years on the Northern Circuit at the other end of the country. I always had my visits, and I'm very, very grateful to the wonderful people I've had in my life who travelled many, many miles and was always there to look after me in them times. Thank you. I don't know what I would have done without these guys, really. This is, I was going through horrendous treatment. There was a lot of violence. There was a lot of gangs in there. Of course, I see people killed in front of me in there. I had to get involved in a lot of violence myself in there. It was going to be them or it was going to be me. So there was a lot of this stuff. There was a lot of paranoia. I used to go to some prisons where I'd have a lot of friends, and it'd be really good, as prison went for a little while. But then they'd move you again. And sometimes you go to a prison where you'd have a lot of enemies. You'd have to watch out. You'd have to be really, really careful. There'd be times I'd go out with other things. We used to have books. We'd put magazines down the front of our coat and round our back, for obvious reasons, because of the knives. We'd wear these long grey lifer coats and stuff like that. We'd hide knives, spikes and all that, all around different places around us, just in case, right? For survival. These were the times. But what I want to talk about as well in them days was, when I first entered the prison system, was the inmates really ruled the roost, in the sense we was left to it. There was none of the standard, basic standard enhanced, which divided everyone, right? So, the officers, about halfway through this big sentence, they did come back and they took the prisons back. They was unbelievably violent. A lot of people was being killed in there, riots, there was a lot of bloodshed and all that. They was even scared to come on the wing. But they took the wings back. Now it's changed a lot. Guys and all that I hear. I've transformed my life for over 12 years now, but I hear things of how it's changed so much in there now, and it's changed again. It certainly wasn't what it was like in the early years when we was there. Another thing I want to say about surviving in there is, look, there was a hierarchy in prison in them days. The Londoners was at the top. You had your faces, your robbers, and some other drug guys of the day, and there was other guys in there, well-known people, and you had the same hierarchy, but you had your Scousers, you had your people from Manchester, you had the Geordie guys, there was a lot of different guys. I got on, with everyone. I was someone who got on with everyone. I certainly had a lot of friends in all these camps, as did they. Sometimes there would be a lot of wars within the Londoners would fall out, or some of the Scouse guys would fall out. Sometimes we would fall out because someone would fall out with one of ours, and of course we'd be in a food boat, we'd be in a group, it'd be one of ours. So this would be this tit for tat, really, really violent wars and grudges and beefs that could go on for 10 years. I certainly had 2 or 3 beefs that went on all the way through that sentence. I had one fight, I had a beef with a guy and had 3 fights with this guy over 10 years. Really bad fights. One with weapons, over 3 different occasions, over 3 years, in 3 different prisons that we met. Right? This was kind of normal, to be honest with you, in the times. So that's what you had to deal with. So you was protected when you was what you was, and you had a name, and you was one of the staunch guys with your own. But of course you was also a target for a lot of other guys, and you was set up in that way, as being more of a target, right? That was the other part about it. And of course, I was always rebellious with the screws. I was very disruptive. I spent most of my sentence, certainly the first half of it, if not in segregation units, but in special units for the most dangerous prisoners and the most high security prisoners, because of my, offences, the people I knew, all the, the way my security category they had given me. So I spent most of my sentence like that. I must have had 30 moves. But another thing I want to tell people to dissuade them from going down the path that I did, serious organised crime, criminality, prison, long-term prison, all this stuff, is, look, it's very desperate. It's like a hell on earth. Everything is stripped from you, and you have to remember, you may have a run for whatever you do, but, you have to be lucky all the time. They have to be lucky once, right? And you lose everything. This is my experience. So when you get a big sentence like that, for me, it can take 4 years, 3-4 years until it actually hits you at what this is doing to you as a human being, a sentence like this, and how you have to be. It certainly did for me. And you start to lose everything because even your memories are not real, because they're real, but 4, 5, 6, 7 years have passed. This is a strange place to be. I've seen it affect really strong guys, I really have, right? And you go through this thing and the months pass, and really I was looking at the years. You don't even look at the weeks of the month. You think in 4 years I'll be closer. I've got 3 years left, 2 years left, so the years fly. Even right to the very end, I was still in units because of my behaviour, because of my associations, because the way that it was. I was kept at category A all the way through. In many ways, I don't know how I got through it, guys. That's the truth. I'm sure many of my friends, and some of them, unfortunately, are still in there, who will never get out, feel the same way, and they wish it could have been different. But there they are now, trapped within this system, just like a number. Even at the end, guys, even at the end, I was meant to be released in the morning. So that morning I get released. I'm meant to be released. Everyone knows me on the wing. They've moved me down south to Belmarsh. I've given away all my stuff, to all my friends and all that. I wake up that morning, I breathe in the air from outside. I can't believe it. I say to myself, I can't believe I've actually made it. I didn't know I would ever be here or even make it here or what that would even look like. I got a bit of anxiety. I'm really excited. My people are outside waiting for me. I've got a lot of anxiety. 12 years have passed, guys. I don't know how this is going to be out there. I don't know what I'm going into. I know how I left it, right? So anyway, in the morning where I'm meant to go, they don't call me. But it transpires that the prison service, the police, they had conspired. So they come up with all this smoke and mirrors thing, and they actually kept me in the prison, and they released me in the evening when all the courts was coming in. I should have went in the morning, right? So they come up with this story, and that was just to keep me, that I had to do extra time, and they'd done a sweep and they'd looked into different things, and actually because of thing I actually had to do another 30 days. Of course, this was all rubbish. I found out later, because when they come back they said, right, we've heard from the Home Office, no one wants to release a category A that's not meant to be released. We can actually tell you we're going to release you now. So they take me down reception. I go down there. I've got my people outside and all that. They've sent in my clothes and all that. I've got a nice suit, guys, and shirt and everything new and all that. I put it on. I felt lovely. It was a new chapter of my life. And I went out. And the funniest thing was, I went out. I went home. I went back to Bethnal Green. I went back to London, and it was unbelievable. It's like walking out of one door into another universe. 12 years of my life, guys, had gone completely like that. And it was very weird, I have to tell you. Because I suddenly felt, as with the people, who I loved and all that, I suddenly felt that all that part of my life, as horrendous as it was, as dark as it was, had just disappeared like that. And that was very weird, that feeling. But then straight away, I must be honest, what was really profound and strange was, once I started getting out and we're going through London and we're getting back to London, I actually started to remember some of the feelings that I'd felt just before when I'd been arrested. more than a decade earlier, like that programming, because I felt something, it was something strange. And I was looking around. I wasn't sure if it was because it was my first day out, I wasn't used to it, or what was going on with me. What I found out later, guys, was, you know, because I knew someone who was in the prison, you know, and they told me, they said an officer in the prison who was with another friend of mine in there, Chrissy Bierman, they said to Chrissy, you know your friend, Stephen Gillen? He said, yeah. He said, oh, they had all police out there waiting for him when he went out. So I heard, guys, and then I put two and two together, and I knew I did see some funny movements around me, but all that was to just keep me in, guys, because they was getting the observation team ready for me for when I come straight in. And what I heard was that, look, because I was still a Cat A and I'd missed them certain laws where I was coming out, I didn't have no probation, I didn't have no ties, I was free. They wanted to know, was I going to fly out somewhere, where I was going. They needed all the information on me, guys. So this was what they've done for me in my sentence, and this is coming into that sentence, coming out of that sentence. That was very unfortunate because I was going to be, you know, I was being set up for more unbelievable events in my life, certainly. That was going to happen after that. We're going to get into that another time, guys. I hope you like that story, you know, and how that was for me. That's a real insight on my life as I certainly traversed through all that. I wish you well, guys, and thanks for tuning in. There's more wonderful content here. We're also going to keep interviewing big names as we do, fascinating people with fascinating journeys. And we're still going to be putting out the content now on our true crime series with me, Stephen Gillen. Have a great day, guys, and I look forward to putting out the next segment soon. Bye. Make sure to subscribe, like, go into stephengillen.com and sign up for more wonderful content to expedite, help and support you on your own personal journey of success.